I just purchased the 50th anniversary of Sergeant Pepper Remix, right? And the only reason I was going to hold off for a while because I was going to see if I could get maybe the one with, the extra stuff there because I love that digitally. But I also wound up the other night purchasing because I've got a oh man, you guys better come to my channel. See, I'm shamelessly promoting again before Nick can stop me. But I've got a great multi-part video coming out on both, actually 2.5 albums. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, but I'm going to connect it very closely. And Bruce Cologne from B-Sides, if you're watching this, you'll appreciate this. I'm going to take the aspect, because both Bruce and I have said in the past that the masterpiece is Sgt. Pepper. There's no doubt about it. And it's the piece that you sit down and you gently put on and you smoke a pipe of the Shire's best, pipe weed and you enjoy that album. But both Bruce and I have discussed how that album is just as an accessible, I feel like the Beatles psychedelic period, I often gravitate either for a serious or as an album played in the background while I do the dishes or whatever it is I'm doing around the house. I'll put on Magical Mystery Tour. And I consider it a mistake-laden masterpiece. And I'm going to connect all of that together with how America deals with the Beatle albums, and then I'm going to also make some comments regarding this ludicrous rush that everybody's having, heart attacks over not getting that silly Beatles box that's coming out based on recordings that are 3 and 4 generations old. And
Michael, I had that very box in my hands not 3 hours ago at Boo Boo Records.
You didn't, Royce.
I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it.
I'm surprised you can get your hands on one because everybody's run out of them. Mike Esposito said to return his albums because they didn't give him what he's promising, and how he's financially set up and what they can get back when their albums don't arrive. It's going to cost him $750 to $1,000. He's going to lose over that because he didn't get all the Beatle boxes. Rachel over Rachel's Ghost is running amok. Mazzy has an extra copy. And no, he didn't get a free copy or anything like that. I'm just kidding. But if she doesn't get a special order by tomorrow, then Mazzy's going to send her a copy, and everybody's having a heart attack for what could only be. They're saying there's 7 albums there. There's 5.5 albums, and those we're talking about based on 2, 3, and a few tracks, 4 generations of hits are already based on recordings on the master tapes that are based on up to 3 recordings of hits, because it was always George Martin's rule that they could do 3 reductions per song before hits built up. So how good a quality can these freaking things be? And I'm already hearing lots of high-end missing, low-end push, all for a beautiful box. But everybody's monkey's uncle has been covering this all week, and I haven't, because I've been so disappointed. And and then I got the idea. I want to kind of approach this whole thing, and I never did go from Revolver past Sgt. Pepper. And when I did Sgt. Pepper, if you remember, it was all about the recording tricks. I never did a review, so this will get me back on track with them, just like we're back on track with Jeff Beck right this second. See how I did that?
Right. Well, no, like I said, I had that box in my. I stopped. I was out working down in Roy Grande today. My ex.
It must have been tempting.
Well, I looked at it, but you know what? They're all tempting.
It's a beautiful box,
Yeah. It was. It was like that fat, but it's like, how many albums of the same songs do you need?
Yeah,
I know they
have them.
There are people that want every single one of them. I know that.
I want Meet the Beatles. I've heard some good things about the second album. I might be interested in that.
Well, I could probably
I'm not, both Rachel and Mazzy have been talking up the Hard Day's Night album, which I'm not a big fan of soundtracks. And Mazzy was kind of explaining, you got to understand you're listening to a soundtrack. And I went, he's absolutely right. And I guess with me, I don't want to listen to a freaking Beatles soundtrack. Although there's one exception to that. The songbook for Yellow Submarine needs to come out, and they need to get rid of Yellow Submarine and canonize the songbook for Yellow Submarine. That's what they need to do.
Well, I didn't even consider the Beatles box. It was already.
I didn't either.
I mean, this how the redo. But then again, the Doors box from Rhino sold out this morning.
Yeah, real quick, I heard.
Yeah, it's gone.
How much?
The Doors are so hot right now. It seems like 2 years ago when I first got involved in the vinyl community aspect. It took me a year after running my channel to kind of fall in with you guys. It seemed like the Doors didn't exactly have a black eye, but it seemed sparse, their support. And man, this last year, there's a lot of Doors fans. There's a revitalization to their sound, and I think it's because of their band setup and their keyboard approach that nobody could quite duplicate. Yeah. And of course, Morrison.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I've always been a huge fan of the Doors. They're way up in my top echelon.
I loved them, but I only had one album by them. But I always enjoyed them.
I have the AP 45 cuts, and they are fantastic.
Yeah.
They're exceptional.
I have at least 5 of their albums, maybe 6.
Yeah. And I intend to catch up on them too as well. It's just that, my first time around, you've only got so much attention. And
I can't tell you how many albums I probably haven't listened to yet that I bought.
Yep.
Well, while you might be listening to the Doors, I was listening to JoJo Gunn and their first album and thought they were the second coming, and nobody that I knew even knew they existed. And then I go, well, they're from Spirit. And they go, who's Spirit? And I'm going,
I know
okay.
Spirit, but I wasn't familiar with JoJo Gunn until you
but then they could mention, an off track from a Doors album, and I wouldn't recognize, probably to this day, a lot of titles from the Doors. I'm not cutting them down. Like I said, it's time for me to reassess them. I've always appreciated their hits. My God.
One of my favorite bands.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands, too.